Well, good afternoon. Bam, here we go. Another episode of the Live, Love, Leave a Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Jerry Morales. Man, I do love hearing that music, man. Like, you know what I mean? But okay, enough of that music. How about some of this, man? Thank you. Man, episode number 11. So thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful. So it's a beautiful day, man. Beautiful day that pushed me. I'm like, man, gotta do the next episode. So let's go. And as I was reading my Bible this morning and talking to God and just thinking about this week, the word passion kept coming up. And it just pounded in my heart and my ears. And I know I cried a little bit, just thinking about what Jesus did over 2,000 years ago for us. This week is a big deal for, if you have faith in God. If you don't, it's all good. Passion is still an important topic for you to, listen in on and understand that it is such a powerful tool in a man or a woman's life. Passion is powerful, you know. But as a believer, I can't help but think about the passion of the Christ. You see that movie, and you're like, wow. Even this morning, I'm like, we're gonna have the church come over. We're gonna watch it on Friday, and and then worship after, because man, it is such an amazing, this weekend. And I know people say that didn't no, it did not actually happen this Friday. So 2000 years, no, but historically it happened, and the crucifixion, the resurrection are the two biggest historical events in mankind. I mean, it's huge. But it also leads me to understand that because that event happened, I have this opportunity to be here with you today to share one of my passions. And my passion is to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. My passion is to spread the good news and to find any which way to do that. And so, well, this podcast is here to live, love, and leave a legacy. But that's one of my passions. I want to leave a legacy that honors God, and I want to live this life in a passionate way that, that is modeled by the way I love by not the gift of this thing called life that God has given me, that I love my wife, my kids, and those people that God has surrounded me with. I mean, Victory Outreach Santa Cruz, big deal, a big part of that love in Santa Cruz County, Monterey County, my family. I have this passion, this burden to live a life that honors God and that leaves a legacy that others may follow, that will lead to Him. Because I know I ain't the answer, man. I mean, I'm not that smart. I tell people I am not that smart. Matter of fact, I stay dumb enough to listen to God, and that's important for me. I don't ever want to get too smart. I'm not, because I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who does. I don't know what next week brings, but I know who does. I don't know what's happening to the stock market, what's going to happen in the next 5 years, and yeah, there's all these conspiracies, another COVID coming, all that stuff. But I know who holds the future, and when I get there, God's going to be right there with me too, just like He was with me every step away of my life. That's given me an opportunity for me to live out the passions that I have in my life. Because there was a time in my life where I didn't have passion to live a meaningful life. I just woke up and just did the routine, right? When we were kids, we get up, get ready, go to school, or come home, play with our friends until it gets dark and time to eat dinner. Come home, hang out, watch TV, go to bed, do it all over again. And then we take that same routine into our adulthood, where we get up, go to work, come home, eat, watch some TV, go to bed, and do it all over again. And then every once in a while we get a weekend off, or we get to take a little vacation. That doesn't mean that we're passionately living out this thing called life. We're just living, we're existing, and we're following through with the daily routines of this thing called life so we can pay the bills and, all that stuff. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we're living out our passions. And so I think that's important, and that we have this conversation, because life is so short. And if we're not spending time to really be focused on what we're passionate about and what we're driven to do and what we were created to do, because remember, every single one of us is a gift to this world and the world around us. So we all have different gifts. I mean, I'm not that artistic, so I can't draw you something, I can't make you something. I know some people that are very gifted in that way, and they express their love that way. Some that can sing, and some that can very creative in how to build businesses, or all different gifts. Some are really good at teaching, some are really good at being helpers. I mean, their hospitality is off the charts, or they're a great teacher. I mean, whatever it may be, it's like we all have a gift to give this world, an invention, a song, a book, even the simple things of something that we make or cook or bake, or our time, our smiles, our affection, and how we love and how we live. our laughter. Some people are just naturally funny, man. And so they're able to make people smile without even trying, where some of us were looking up jokes to crack at a gathering, right? And so where others, it just comes naturally. They're gifted. They have that. And then they're able to do something with that passion to affect other people's lives. Whereas when we live in an unpurposeful life, we tend to just do things a la brava, as we say in Spanish, and not really worry about the consequences. We're just doing it. But, passion can be such a powerful force that leads us to a life of purpose. I was talking to my little brother earlier, and he said, yeah, passion and purpose go together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? You can't have one without the other. And that really resonated with me. And I told him one day when I have the guest, I got to bring my little brother on so he can really expand on that, because he gets it. My little brother gets it. And it's modeled and how he's living his life right now and being intentional with his boys, with Judy, and they got a brand new baby, Layla. Oh, she's so beautiful, my little niece, But it shows in his work and in his passion to be that dad, to be that man that his family needs. And so he's doing whatever he's got to do to be that man, coaching and helping out the house, his work, all those things. When a man has purpose, we just do it. We got to do it. So we don't complain, or even if we do complain, it don't matter. We just know we got to do this. So purpose and passion help us overcome those things that would make other people run from it, because passion means to work, to sacrifice, to live a life of meaning, and where you put other things before you, where you're passionate that you're going to do whatever you got to do to get this thing done. And that means that you got to sometimes deny, or a lot of times deny what you would want to do to fulfill that passion, right? And so it also helps us to be resilient, that when times get hard, our passion drives us through those hard times. It says, no. This is hard, but it's not going to last forever. But my passion and what I want to fulfill in life, that's going to last a lot longer than the season that I'm in. So sometimes we will cut short our passions because it's hard. Building a business is not easy. It's hard. Writing a book is not easy. It's hard. Writing a song, or even building a family, holding on to a marriage, raising kids. Oh, Lord, all that is hard. It takes work. But when you're passionate about it, it keeps you in the game. I've watched football long enough to see I'm a Raider fan, right? But I remember watching a Monday night football game with my dad, and the Raiders were playing in Denver on Monday night. They're halftime, they were down 24-0. And we're like, it's over. It's a wrap. But there's enough guys in that locker room during halftime that talked about the passion to win and the passion to persevere and that commitment to excellence, the little phrases that we use in sports and in life. And they came out and won the game in the second half. I don't know where you're at in life right now, and it may seem like you're down 24-0 and it's halftime, but your story isn't done yet, man. Your book hasn't been finished. It's not, it's not over yet. You woke up today. You got this thing called life, and there's air in your lungs, and there's blood flowing through those veins in your body that allow you to function, to move, to think, to dream, to achieve, to go after those things that you're passionate about, I'm passionate about my marriage. I'm passionate about my kids. I'm passionate about my ministry. I'm passionate about those things that God has entrusted me to. I'm passionate about my future, and I want to get better, and I want to get better, and I want to get better. So I know in order for me to get better, I got to get better. And getting better means sacrificing time and getting up early and going to sleep late and not having as much free time as you would say. But to me, it's invested time, and I'm going to get a return on that investment. I'm going to sacrifice some time now to be able to do something that I wasn't able to do today. I'm going to be able to do tomorrow. It's like learning an instrument, learning how to use a tool, learn how to use a computer, different programs. And it's hard at first, but then once you get the hang of it, like this podcast. Oh my Lord, it was so hard at first. I was like, man, the burden of like learning how to use this program and how to set up this camera, the sound, or all this stuff, that it's like, it was not, but I was motivated to do it. So my passion to fulfill my word that I gave to you in late December, when I said at the end of January, I'm going to start it. And I had to fulfill my promise and keep to my word. And so it motivated me to get this thing done. And I was driven to figure it out. So I watched hours of YouTube and what program and what tools and what resources. And I was driven to do it. And then when I did that first one, man, I felt so good after I was done. I did it. Like, oh, wow, like I did it. and you feel the same way. If you've ever started something and finished it, and if it was hard at first and you completed it, it feels good. When you want to be like a YouTube mechanic, and you're like, wow, you look at the how much it's going to cost to get it fixed, and you're like, Charlie, I'm gonna look it up on YouTube, and you see how it's done. I got this, I can do this. And then you're like, whoa, what did I get myself into? But you do it step by step, and you follow what that YouTube guy's doing, that YouTube mechanic, or to draw something, or to create something, and use YouTube to do it, to bake something or cook something. And then when it comes out, you taste it, you see it, you have that fulfillment of, hey, I did this. Well, it was a passion to do it. That's what drove you to do that. You're like, I'm passionate about not paying somebody else to do something that I could do myself, probably. And it feels good. And you know what it does? It inspires other people, because then, if you're married, your wife's like, hey, way to go, honey. You're like, hey, come on, that's right. That's me. I did that. Your boys, your babies, like, hey, way to go, Dad. You fixed it, Dad. You did it. And it feels good. And what are you doing? You're showing other people that even stuff that's hard can be done, right? It's like Home Depot. You can do it, and they'll help you. Well, in my life, I can do it, and God helps me, or people around me. I'm open to other people helping me do this. When I remember I interviewed people, I talked to people that have done podcasts. I asked them questions, and I had a good friend of T who paid the cost podcast, and he wrote it. I remember the tools, and this is what you got to get. I remember I went out and I looked for that stuff, and I'm like, I found it, and it felt so good. So you're when you live a passionate life, you inspire and you influence other people. And so, when you just go through the routines, you become like anybody else. When you get up and follow a routine, now don't get me wrong, I do want to make sure I clarify that, because I'm here because I saw my mom and dad get up every day and work. And I saw my mom passionate about making sure her family stayed together. I saw my dad passionate about finding ways to stay involved in the family, even when he struggled with his addictions, and that he didn't bounce on us, that, he did what he had to do. And he had to do some uncomfortable stuff. And my mom and my dad had to go through uncomfortable seasons to keep our family together. And so I'm grateful for that. But that sacrifice has given me an opportunity to live a better life. And so I'm going to sacrifice so my kids, can live a better. But they're going to be hearing this podcast. That means that you guys got to sacrifice too. So I want my grandkids to have a better life. I want you to live a passionate life, a purposeful life, an intentional life. That you go after anything God's put in your heart that is true, based on what scripture, based on people reminding you of God's promise for your life. That we live intentional, purposeful lives, and that we leave our mark on humanity. We leave our mark in this world by being passionate people, right? Because when we're passionate, we're resilient, man. We don't give up easy. Charlie, we don't give up easy. And my church, we don't raise chickens, we raise champions. That's because why God don't raise junk. God didn't create junk. You and me ain't not junk. We're beautiful creations that have been marred and scarred by this thing called life, because life can be hard and it can rip the passions out of our life, or rip that ability to want to dream and go after these things that sometimes we dream about or think about it. We think, no, I can't, because why? We've tasted failure. We've been humbled. We've been humiliated. People have called us stupid, or you're dumb, or you never amount to nothing, or I can't believe. But some moms and dads have even uttered these words that I regret even having you, and if you've ever heard those words, it's a terrible thing. It's horrible, but don't let that be the excuse of why you don't passionately go after your dreams and what God's given you. We have to defy those odds. We have to not listen to those old tales, old identities that life has told us that you can't accomplish that because you're not good enough. Let me tell you something. You are more than good enough. You are. My God says that you were just beautifully woven together in your mother's womb. And you're in this world, in this space, in this time for such a time as this. You are important to the world around you. And we need you to live a passionate life where, man, you're on fire because you woke up today. I mean, I'm grateful. I'm grateful every day. I'm grateful just for waking up, because I know I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. And I don't deserve to have what I have, but man, I'm so grateful that I have a God that has forgiven me, that His grace and mercy has been showered upon my life. And He doesn't bring up my past because He's forgot about it. I mean, believe me, but God forgets things. When it comes to our sin, when we've asked Him to forgive us of those sins and we've genuinely repented and changed of our ways, He doesn't bring up the past. He's forgiven us of it, but he pushes us to strive ahead and go after the future that he has for us. So it makes it hard for us to give up. Like, I don't give up. I have a hard time giving up. Why? Because I saw a mom who didn't know how to give up. And I'm sure my mom got that from my grandma, my great grandma. My mom, Mila, man, she lived to, I remember the last time I saw her, she was 98 years old, living by herself in Rancho Laguna Grande, Zacatecas. And I remember as a little boy watching my grandma going to a big water hole. To me, it looked like this huge lake. And there's this 2x4 plank. My mom, Amelia, she needed water, and that's where she got water from. And I'll never remember, I froze watching her walk to the middle of that plank over that water hole, drop down the bucket, fill it with water, pull it up, and walk back off that plank like if it was no big deal. She wanted water, and she knew where it was, and she had purpose, and she was passionate about it because she was thirsty. It scared me to death, though. But it reminded me, I still look back and I go, man, I'm not raised by chickens for sure, because she was not scared. You know, my mom Pancha out there in the ranch, I would see her do stuff. I know she wasn't no chicken, man. And I know my mom, she no chicken either. So she didn't raise no chickens. We struggle, but we will overcome. We will, because I watched my mom do it. So her passion has taught me to be passionate and not give up. Mom, Dad, you're so important to your kids. For you to live passionately, for you to go after and continue to grow and smile and laugh and not allow the tragedies and the struggles of life to take our passion away from us. Because, it's not, no way. Don't waste valuable time, because time is something that we can never, ever get back. See, passion transforms us into being able to do what we didn't think we could do, to doing it. So allow your passions to drive you, to push you to go after, things that you've put off because they're in here in your heart and your mind, but you don't have the courage, or you haven't tapped into the courage that God gives us when we ask him from. Just ask him, give me the courage to do this. Give me the courage to do this. And you'll do it. You will. And it's just one day at a time. I was talking to somebody earlier who's overcome alcohol. He was old. Yeah. And when he hears this, I'm talking about him, but he told me how many days he's been sober. And it's just, he was passionate finally enough to have the courage to overcome that alcohol addiction, to become the dad he needed to be for his boys. And I'm real proud of him. And there's some of you watching this and you're struggling with an addiction, or you're struggling with a hard time in life. And don't let whatever you're going to take your passion away from you, because then it robs you of your purpose in this thing called life. And we need you. You are needed. I may not even know you, but I need you to know that you are needed by the people around you. They need your best. They need you to function at the very high, at the very core of why you were created, to be put on this earth at such a time as this. You've been deployed in this time of history for you to make a difference, for you to live and to love and leave a legacy. We got this thing called the Maverick Way, though, in our church. And if you notice in the podcast, it says the Maverick Way, right? Live, love, and leave a legacy, the Maverick Way. Well, because I'm out here in Santa Cruz County now, and they got this Maverick competition of surfers. And little by little, I'm meeting some of them that have actually competed in it and surfed those big waves. These are big wave riders, and it's a big wave competition, right? And the Maverick is no joke, man. You're talking about men and women who are willing to risk their lives because it's their passion to ride. And they're willing to take the risk because it's their passion. And they use the courage of their skills of training and preparing and getting ready, so that when that day comes, when that call comes, when that notice goes out that Mavericks is on, that they're ready and able to be deployed to ride them big waves that represent some of the heaviest waves that can be surfed on the planet. Right here, right up the street, Santa Cruz County. And it's like for us too. I want to ride the big waves of life. I don't want to be a chicken. I don't want to ride these little waves in life. I want to do big things, and I want to see how far God will take me. But really, it's not how far God will take me. It's really, the question is, how far will I allow God to take me? How far will you allow God to take you? How far will you allow this thing called life to pull the best out of you, Because life brings us to circumstances that are God ordained. And they're meant to bring out the best side of us now. And it could come in different forms, an opportunity for a new career, an opportunity to start a business, or it can come through painful circumstances like tragedy or a loss, a death, or just losing everything, you know? There's an opportunity for you to grow and for you to then make a decision. Am I gonna allow this to take me down? Or am I gonna allow this to bring out a whole other side of me that I didn't know I had inside of me? I hope you choose the latter because there's so much beauty inside of each and every single one of you. And I want you to know that you are loved and that you are valued. And if nobody's told you lately, man, you are loved. And we're so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Even if you're listening to this podcast, it says a lot about you because you know the titles, Live, Love, and Leave a Legacy. And you're going to read the title of this section. It's called Passion. And something's going to draw you to it. Why? Because you're not like just anybody else. You're not called to live a normal life. You're called to live a radical life. You're called to live a passionate and purposeful life that impacts the people around you. And, you know, that's pretty much what I have for you today. That God want me to share with you. But I want you to know I'm grateful that you clicked that button to watch this video. Now, I want to encourage you to not just watch it, but subscribe to this podcast, this channel. You know, blow this thing up, man. You know, and share it with people you love or you think would be encouraged by listening to this. And I'm grateful. I really am. I'm honored. And I desire the best life for you. So until next time, be blessed, be brave, be bold, but most importantly, be you. Be the best version of who you are and who you were created to be. Don't settle for nothing less than the best. God bless you from my heart to yours. We'll see you next time.